Whether you're a fellow entrepreneur or you're an investor, I think the theory of constraints is one of the best things we can all look at to help us unlock that next level. So today's podcast is not going to be the typical podcast where we talk about real estate investing strategies, trends, and reviewing deals. No, rather I want to pivot and talk about Property Llama, the business. Now you might be asking, Chris, why are you going to talk about the business? Well, it's for a couple reasons. One, we know from our analytics, YouTube, podcast, email marketing analytics, that these entrepreneurship and business content are actually some of our best performing content, even though we're a real estate investing brand and channel. But people love learning about the business, and many other entrepreneurs are out there. Plus, people like learning about behind the scenes. The second is it becomes a very self-fulfilling prophecy for us, where the more we talk about it, we're able to attract the right resources to go out there and help continue to grow the company. And the biggest resource this podcast helps us attract is talent, human capital. Now, the vast majority of the Property Llama team has actually come from the Denver real estate investing community. They've talked to me, they've talked to my partners, they've heard us on the podcast, like, hey, I like what you guys are doing. I'm gonna come work with you, whether on the team directly or some third-party relationship. We've attracted so much talent that way, and it's been key for us growing, not just this last year, but over my career out here for over 10 years now, and connecting with other people around the community. So by talking about this, we'll attract the right people, we'll attract more deal flow, we'll attract more capital so we can go out there and make the business better. Now, getting into details here for what I'll be talking about today, I want to talk about our Q4 results. Now, the first change we made was extremely minor, but it had a huge impact on our business. So over the years, I've always had my planning, my goals, my core reporting just go in sync with the calendar, right? Q1 is January, February, March. Q2 is April, May, June. Well, what happens in real estate, especially like commercial real estate deals, December is just a dead month. Nothing happens, nothing goes on. People check out, they're on vacation, they're enjoying the holidays, which is great. Our team is doing the same thing. But the problem there is you close out on a week note and then you go into January. And of course, January goes from 0 to 100 real fast, right? To get January 4th and back to 100 miles an hour. Well, what I've learned over the years is that we lose momentum or the team comes back and don't have focus. So what we changed last year for Property Llama was we actually changed our goal setting, our quarterly reporting off by 1 month from the traditional calendar setting. So rather than being January, February, March is Q1, our Q1 is February, March, April. And so this last Q4 was the first time we rolled into Q4 with this new one, which was November, December, January. So our quarter and our 90-day goals ended January 31st, and then Q1 starts February, March, April. So this year, when we went into January, was the year that, I can't remember the last time we went into a January with so much momentum, so much clarity, and just the team was dialed in, the team that they knew what they were doing, and we just executed at a level I have not executed at for years, especially in really tough market conditions right now. So that was a very small change. Literally, it took us, no cost to implement. It just took us a few minutes to update our calendar and our notes on there, but it took us a while to figure this out, but it helped us unlock a much better level of performance without much, capital outlay or much human capital outlay as well. So I'm very happy that we came to that conclusion, and I'm sharing that because other business owners, other entrepreneurs may benefit from questioning their calendar system or the quarterly reporting system, saying, hey, maybe I should change this for these reasons. So there's some food for thought for you if you have your own goal setting or your own business that you are planning for. Now, moving on to the big news, and this is the biggest news, the one I'm most excited to share about. Property Llama, the business, we achieved profitability in December of 2024. Now, achieving profitability is extremely important, obviously, for any business. Now, for many startups, which we are kind of entering out the startup phase, and also for a lot of, capital groups like what we're doing at Property Llama Capital, those both have a long runway. There's usually a couple of years of a valley where it's very easy to starve or go out of business. So we stayed extremely focused on achieving profitability. And a big tip of the hat to my business partners, Richard and Alona, who really stayed focused on there and really got down to the dollars in the books. to make it happen. But from a strategic level and a leadership level, the main way we made that happen was by focusing on the theory of constraints. We looked at everything we have, and this is a very common thing entrepreneurs, face, right? We all wear 10, 20 different hats, have a lot of projects, and it's very easy to get very busy and do lots of stuff, but not be effective. We don't want to just be efficient, we want to be effective. And so what we did is every time we set our quarterly goals, we work in 90-day goals, 90-day sprints, we focus on what is the biggest constraint that if we focus on this bottleneck or we focus on this issue, if we unlock this issue, it's going to have the biggest results in terms of business productivity and revenue and ultimately profitability. So we were extremely disciplined in focusing on what is the biggest constraint. And then we executed on that biggest constraint. And then once we unblock that or solve that constraint, we said, okay, what's the next biggest constraint? So rather than trying to do 20 things, we focused on, hey, what's that one thing that really matters? And we want to do one thing extremely well. And that helped us achieve so much growth, so much success, and also so much efficiency for Property Llama as a business. So I want to share this with you because whether you're a fellow entrepreneur or you're an investor, I think the theory of constraints is one of the best things we can all look at to help us unlock that next level. And that might be achieving profitability. That might be achieving the next level of profitability, or it might just be reducing stuff off your plate to achieve a better lifestyle or have less stress. So I encourage everyone out there to look at your business, look at your portfolio, look at your goals and say, what is the biggest constraint that's holding me, my business, my portfolio back from achieving XYZ? Now, I don't know your business, I don't know your goals, I don't know where you want to go, but if you go out there and you tackle that constraint, I feel extremely confident that you'll have a huge ripple effect in your business and your portfolio. So if you're stuck in where you're at or you're not having the growth that you want to achieve, go back and have a very frank and honest conversation with yourself about what's the biggest constraint in your life, in your business, in your portfolio. And then go out there and talk to mentors, go network, talk to AI, ChatGPT, and figure out a solution to that constraint. Because once you solve it, you achieve that next level. And now you're at the next level. Hey, we're at that next mountain, we're at the next level up. What do I need to do to go out there and unlock the next constraint or go unlock the next level of my business? Now, moving on, the last thing I want to talk about in terms of what the Property Llama updates are, and this is more of a forward-looking one. Like I said, we achieved profitability. The team is dialed in. We have so many tailwinds behind us. And the other big thing we realized was that we needed to do a better job providing investment opportunities or investment solutions for our clients, for our users, for the people that come to our local events. Because one of the most common things we've heard from people over the years is they plug their properties into software. They come to one of our events or webinars and they're like, wow, I didn't realize I had all these red light ROE properties. I didn't realize that my portfolio was underperforming the stock market. And so it's very good at pointing out the problem or the pain. And people are like, great, you pointed out what's not working, but help provide some solutions as well. What should I do instead? So we've been very intentional the last 6 to 9 months about creating that marketplace or a buffet of options for people to choose from. Now, we all know the market has changed. Interest rates have gone up. The investing landscape has changed completely. So that means we have to go out there and find new strategies and new opportunities that make sense in the current market cycle that we're in. So in late January, we launched our 10 strategies webinar, and this is part of our portfolio analysis mastermind series we did. So we launched the 10 strategies. We went and explained, here are the 10 strategies that make sense in the current marketplace. Some were converting your property to a room by room or medium-term rental. Some were some creative ways to pull money out, like a cash out refi from your property. And then we had a lot of ways for going out there and repositioning your equity, for getting your equity working harder in the current market cycle, and also aligning it with your cash flow goals and how hands-on or how hands-off you want to be. So that webinar was a huge success in terms of feedback. And also from our business, it led to a lot of people rebalancing, optimizing their portfolio, which is our goal as Property Llama. Now, we do a handful of deals ourselves together every year, right? Our private credit fund in Kansas, or some of these development projects we're doing in multifamily in Colorado Springs and Ohio. We do a handful of deals ourselves every year for deals that we love, we think they're great, we invest our own money into, and are able to create some really great opportunity out there. Now, we can only do so many deals because we don't want to do a lot of deals and not get good at them, or not find great deals. So we're stay very focused on, hey, let's go out there and just find a couple exceptional deals every year. If we can do that, that's a huge win for us and our investors. However, those deals are not right for everyone. A lot of investors don't want those deals. They want something else, or they have a different appetite, or they have a different strategy or risk profile. Not right or wrong, it is what it is. And our job out there is to provide as many solutions as possible to investors. And this is where the marketplace comes into play, where we go out there and not just say we got these deals, but we've got some partners, we got some vendors, we got other people we work with where they are exceptional at what they do, but it's not exactly what we do. It's a different strategy. It's how do you scale up a room by room rental, or how do you do a creative 721 exchange so you get the tax benefits of a 1031 exchange, but you can also roll over into a diversified fund, or qualified opportunity zone opportunity. There's so many opportunities out there that we wanted to create the buffet for investors to choose from and pick what's right for them. So in Q2, we will be rolling out a new part of the website called our Property Llama Marketplace, which will show some of the deals we do. It shows other deals and strategies that make sense to us in the marketplace that we've come across. And that way you can learn about them, get connected with actual deals, and then do your due diligence and invest if it makes sense. Now, this will also all be integrated in the app. So once we point out, hey, the red light ROE property, you can hit a few buttons on the system. It'll show, hey, if you did this, or if you did strategy 2 or 3 or 4, here's how it looks. So it's to be a much more robust platform. But most importantly, it's delivering what users want. They didn't want more features and bells and whistles on the software. They said, hey, I understand my portfolio. I want to make it better and rebalance it. Show me some solutions. Show me some investment opportunities. So that's what we are pivoting to, and extremely excited about it, because I have not seen any other groups or platforms out there have a marketplace like this, where it's direct ownership, it's passive, it's out of state, it's in state. There's a whole swath of different opportunities out there. So very excited to be rolling out here in Q2 with new website features, but most importantly, more investments for people to go out there and look at. All right, so that wraps up for this podcast. Stay tuned, because our Q1 wraps up in a couple weeks at the end of April, and we'll be doing our next Q1 update very soon after this podcast, with the intention of doing a podcast about quarterly, maybe a little bit more frequently if we have some really cool updates. But we know from last year that a once a year shareholder meeting is just too long. The frequency is not high enough. So we're pivoting towards that quarterly update so we can share updates and, again, attract the resources to help us grow and hopefully inspire you guys to improve your portfolio, or give you some ideas to go out there and improve what your business is doing as well. Now, if you have any questions, comments, or just want to talk shop, email me, chris@propertyllama.com. I love connecting, because that is how we do deals and we all grow together. All right, I'll see you for the next episode. Bye-bye.